Is there an error message? Let me know when y'all are ready. Mhm. Okay, let me let.
Good evening, good evening. We're just gonna give it another couple of seconds to let everyone come in from the waiting room. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I am Calvin Harris, Assistant Director of Student Activities, and a member of the Student Affairs Division here at Hampton University. And on today, we have another informational seminar underneath our series of the Blueprint, where we are building a successful HU experience. You all have asked us, and we have the pleasure today of bringing one of the most requested topics and persons here today, and that would be financial aid and student accounts. I am pleased to be joined with Mr. Martin Miles. He is our Director of Financial Aid here at Hampton University, and Mrs. Tiffany Tucker, who is an accounts specialist, student accounts specialist here at Hampton. On today, we're just going to give you our general information, same format if you have been with us before. We are asking that you all hold all questions to the end. Mr. Miles, as well as Mrs. Tucker, will be giving out valuable information as to the processes and procedures of their department, but we will also allow for a few live questions. So, everybody ready? Yeah. All right. All right. So, Mr. Miles, we are very pleased to have you here. On the call today, we have parents as well as students that are either incoming or returning students. So one of the questions that a lot of them wanted to know in this midst of our opening up the doors back to our campus, what is the best way for students to be able to contact the financial aid office?
All right, thank you for that question there, Calvin. And as always, it's good to be with you and also with my colleague, Ms. Tiffany Tucker from the Office of Student Accounts. Hello, parents. Hello, students. I am Martin Miles, and I served as Director of Financial Aid and Scholarships here at Hampton University, and been so since 2006. Calvin, again, thank you for the question. Yes, the best way, the most effective way to contact the Financial Aid Office is using our Contact Us link, which can be found on the Financial Aid Office webpage. And on that, at that site, we list all the contact persons, within the Financial Aid Office. We prefer that more so than phone calls. They are welcome to. But with the Contact Us link, we're able to track the inbound message or email that is sent to us. And also we can track our response or responses to those emails, as well. So we prefer the Contact Us link. We developed that maybe about 8-9 years ago. And one of the reasons why we did that, not only because it's the most efficient way to contact the financial aid office, is because there are more students than there are in the financial aid office by far. By far, we have close to about 4,000 students roughly here at Hampton, give or take, a little bit here and a little bit there. But 80% of our students, about 88%, I'm sorry, receive some form of financial aid. It can be Title IV financial aid, which is student loans, grants, Pell Grants, SLG grants, federal work study, and things of that nature, as well as internal scholarship, external scholarship, as well as grants and sponsorship, research grants, and programs and things like that. So, because so many students rely on some form of financial aid, we get a lot of traffic. Beyond the point of admission, we are probably the most contacted office on the campus. You get a bill, yes, and we get that, and we get emails, and we get all kinds of statements with regards to that. But financial aid is a little bit different because there are so many moving parts there with regards to the financial aid award package, with regards to maybe we may need additional documentation from you, or we may just simply be processing your aid. So any aid that students receive that pays for his or her direct expenses here at the university, it flows through the Office of Financial Aid. We are a very large operation, $100+ million operation, no doubt about it. And so with all of that, all those number of students, whether it's athletically related aid, whether it's merit type aid, whether it's federal aid, state aid, whether it's aid from a variety of external sources per se, it all flows through financial aid. So our preference is that you use the contact us link to contact us. Why? Because think about it. If you're talking to a financial advisor, that's not something you can discuss within a minute or two, not for most people. It requires insight, analysis, thought. It requires a response, and things like that, and a conversation, most importantly. And so usually on average, it takes about 10, 15 minutes, sometimes a little bit more, depending on the students' or parents' familiarity with the process. So that's why we prefer the email process using the contact us. Well, that's a long-winded question. Response to that question, which is a very good question, but that is probably one of the most important questions, which is direct communication, because we are here to serve our students, and that is the most efficient way to contact them.
All right.
Walk-ins are welcome, letters are welcome, but that is the most efficient way to contact us.
All right, so you heard it here from him using the contact us link underneath the Hampton University website. So we can go to Hampton University website, in the search engine, type in financial aid. Once you get to the financial aid homepage, on the left-hand side, I think it's second from the bottom, it says contact us. You click that, and it'll take you right to his department. One thing that you did mention, Mr. Miles, that everybody wants to know about the money, the financial aid award letters. Do students receive the same amount of money every year?
No, that's just probably one of the biggest misnomers of myth about student financial aid is that you receive the exact same amount every year. No, you do not. If you're a freshman, depending on your situation, if you're a dependent student, you're going to receive a certain amount of money from the federal government if you qualify. When you become a sophomore, for example, your loan amount will change. Junior and senior amounts, that will change per se. If you are on a merit scholarship, let's say you received that in your freshman year, and let's say for whatever reason you do not retain the requirements to receive that scholarship, then that too will impact your financial aid, in that regard. And then also the information that you supply, the household supply on the FAFSA form too. Let's say, for example, you hit the lottery, next year. Okay, so obviously that's going to increase your expected family contribution. So whereas the year before, you may have qualified for need-based aid, but certainly with that amount of income, you will qualify for non-need-based aid. So in that regard, so it is not static. It is forever changing, depending on circumstances that we have to, review. Meaning your FAFSA form, meaning your eligibility for certain programs and things of that nature.
All right, and so a lot of parents shop around, it's natural as consumers to shop around. So when we look at financial aid package, does Hampton match financial aid offers for if they went to another school, from another school's financial aid, will Hampton match their offer?
Well, there are certain aspects of federal aid that can be matched.
Okay.
I mean, for example, your loan eligibility, as a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. That is universal, whether you're at Hampton, whether you're at a private school, public school, that's universal.
Okay.
Because that's based on your enrollment classification. In terms of your if you qualify for need-based aid, for example, the federal Pell Grant. The federal Pell Grant too is universal. So irrespective of what school or which type of school you attend, that amount of Pell Grant, you would get the same amount here at Hampton. Where it varies when it comes to a program called the Federal Work Study Program, because that is what we call a campus need-based program. And so depending on funding availability, depending on the rules that the financial aid office sets, you may qualify for federal work study here, you may not qualify for it elsewhere, depending on the other schools' requirements. And the same thing with the federal SCOG. Those are campus-based funds. Unlike the Pell Grant and unlike student loans, those funds are unlimited. And because they are unlimited, the federal government says we will support students who qualify for those two specific programs, the loan program and the federal Pell Grant program. But when it comes to federal work study, when it comes to SCOG, if you qualify, the school will receive like an allotment. And so basically, the way most schools handle it is on a first come, first served basis. Okay. This is why we tell students to apply early. They can apply as early as October 1st with regards to their FAFSA. But we have to receive that information at least by February 15th, no later than February 15th, if you qualify for need-based aid in that regard. Now, institutional aid, yes, if you have a scholarship that is renewable, you will get that, provided that you meet the renewal, requirements. Okay. In that regard. If you qualify, if you're a Virginia domicile resident, then you would that grant will remain the same. So there's certain components that will remain the same, but there are certain components that I would say is a variable and is subject to the school's financial aid policies in that regard.
Okay. So do students that have private scholarships, does that affect their financial aid?
Of course, any type of aid that you get is subject to impact that overall financial aid award. On the financial aid website, we also have a link that speaks very specifically to the question. It's called financial aid disclosure. So basically what we are saying to students and to families, if you know that you're going to receive monies from an outside source, let us know. Let us know as soon as possible, because we're going to package your financial aid based on what's there in front of us. But financial aid, unlike most things, is not static. It's forever. It could be subject to change, and it's almost like a variable. So if we know in advance, prior to, let's say, September, then we can make that adjustment to that financial aid package. In most cases, it does not alter just the package somewhat, or I should say a good deal. But in some cases, depending on how many, I guess, outside scholarship or merit scholarship that student is receiving, it could sometimes conflict with university set policies and things like that. So word to the wise, if we know in advance, we can make that adjustment. In essence, the sum of all your aid cannot exceed your cost of attendance. With regards to scholarship, the sum of all your, let's say, scholarships and grants and things like that, excluding federal, cannot exceed your direct costs here at the university. So, I've been told many years, I kind of subscribe to this, probably second to the IRS. There are so many moving parts with regulations that govern student financial aid, but we have to make sure that we're in compliance not only with our own policies, but also with institutional policies, but also with federal policies as well. We get audited every year. We have to make sure that all those things are in compliance.
All right. So, what is the best way for students to learn about additional financial aid scholarship opportunities?
Well, that's a very good question. And what I try to say to students and parents, whether I'm on a panel like this, whether I got an audience of 1,500 people or more, whether I'm doing something on a local level at a church or high school or what have you, or a representative of the financial aid office, is that the first thing you should do is to view that office, or in my case, my office website. For such opportunities, we have a slew of opportunities, external opportunities that students can apply for. You don't have to do that much, you don't have to do that much search. Like if you were to do your own individual search, it's all there on my website. We even have a Q&A on scholarships and how it impacts financial aid award package, or what students and parents should look out in terms of, what may be fraudulent and things like that. We also have a list of scholarships by subject major. So, for example, if you're architecture major or if you're a biology major, it's not like you just have to take the word scholarship. We actually break it down for you per subject matter. So a lot of that is there. We have a lot of information for veterans as well. Even there is scholarship information for international students, and things like that. So it's all there. All you have to do is take the time to explore. So if you go to my homepage on the financial aid website, scholarship, we have a link for scholarship. It's right there on the homepage, and then you can kind of go from there.
Okay, all right. So a lot of previously, a lot of students had filled out their FAFSA form with the parents' assistance, and the income has changed. Some were saying less, some might be more. But in a situation where a parent's income has changed for the less, how do they qualify for more money? Are they eligible to qualify for more?
Absolutely. That's been around quite some time now. And it is even a question on the FAFSA form. It speaks to specifically about what we call it special circumstances. So that is a question on the FAFSA form. If your circumstances have changed, in the current year, then in the prior year, then you can petition the financial aid office to revisit your financial aid award package. Now, here's the deal with that. We do have an application that we do submit to families and to students upon demand. We don't know your situation. You have to tell us that. But upon learning that, we'll see in the application, there are certain questions you have to complete. And if you do qualify for it, like in most things, in God we trust and all others we verify. So you have to be able to document, not just verbally tell us, you have to be able to show that in terms of, documentation. So we get that, and if everything pans out, then we will revisit, the formula that actually, that determine what your expected family contribution number was, which consists of your household information, income, tax, resources, and all that sort of thing. And so if we can reduce that based on verifiable documentation, then yes, a student who may not be Pell eligible could become Pell eligible. A student who may not be need-based could become need-based and could qualify for, as I was speaking about earlier, about federal work study, SOG, and things like that. What it does not, and then, for example, if you had, let's say, all unsubsidized monies, it could make part of your loan package to be subsidized in that regard. So yeah, it can help in those situations. But what it does not do, it does not provide you with additional institutional assistance. It's all federal assistance. And what we try to say to parents on the application is to try to help yourself as much as you can. You can't cherry pick, well, I don't want this, I don't want that, because I don't like this, I don't like that. Remember, you're paying for your private school education. So we may reduce, to it your expected family contribution. We may make you Pell eligible, but there still could be a gap. Okay. And so the gap of funding there oftentimes would require some support.
And you made a most popular statement in work study. So many students come to my office, say, Mr. Harris, I want to work study, I want to work for you, but I want another work study. How do students qualify for work study?
Well, it's determined first and foremost, they have to complete the FAFSA.
Okay.
Okay, so that's rule number one. Two, you have to fall within an expected family contribution range of having a EFC, expected family contribution of $0 to about $25,000. Okay. So, and a lot of people misunderstand what the expected family contribution is. It does not mean necessarily that you have $25,000 to contribute necessarily, but based on the income, asset, and resources that was reported, the government, and based on some, like the state you live in and taxes and things like that, the federal government is saying this is what you should be able to contribute towards your education. So because if you recall what I said earlier, there are certain programs from the federal government, it's called campus-based funding, which means that we get an allotment and the school determines what the eligibility criteria is. So we use, if you have a zero expected family contribution up to 25,000, then you could qualify for federal work study. Again, I say could, that is the operational term there, because if every student at Hampton wanted federal work study, I could not give every student federal work study unless it was like $100, something like that, and that doesn't help anyone. But so it's always based on eligibility. You have to be in academic good standing too. You can't be below a 2.0 and stuff like that. There's other little variables there, but minor. But it's also subject to the availability of funding, because that is a hot topic, a hot item, I should say, with a lot of students, and that's a good thing.
And then lastly, after they've done financial aid, they've gotten cleared, a lot of times well, not a lot of time, but some students will have excess money on their account where they qualify for a refund check. Can you talk about how the refund checks, how that refund check process works?
Well, yeah, that's one of the most regularly asked questions of financial aid, and sometimes it blends a little bit with my dear colleague, Mr. Tucker here to my left of student accounts. But basically what it is this. You have your direct costs. And if you have sufficient aid or enough financial aid to cover your direct billable charges, anything above and beyond that is considered to be a refund. And so that's how that works. So let's say you owe Hampton, just for the sake of simplicity, $40,000. Let's just say it's $40,000. Let's say it's $30,000. And let's say the sum of your aid for the fall is $16,000. Okay, you get half fall, half spring. So in that simple equation, we would get $1,000, above what I just said, and that would be considered.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit, because I know often it happens that people contact different departments. And like I stated before, the main purpose of us doing these virtual information seminars is to help create a successful HU experience. So that is why I invited both of their departments here, because I think people often think student accounts is financial aid and financial aid is student accounts. Yeah. So we just want to, set the record straight. It is two different departments, everyone. So that's why we are proud to have Mrs. Tiffany Tucker here with us. So Ms. Tucker, we have parents and students, please explain what the Office of Student Accounts handles.
So I'll just briefly go over our major functions. The main one is billing, which we send out statements, but I should say we upload statements monthly. We do tend to mail out the first one and the last one, but they're always uploaded online.
Okay.
We also handle financial clearance, which I can go into a little bit deeper later. Payment plans, we do process the refunds. So that's once the aid has actually paid out. If it's a federal refund, there isn't anything the student has to do, we automatically process those. If it's a refund from outside aid or private loans, those do have to be requested, and they can be requested through the business office. We just send that via email to businessoffice@hamptonu.edu. And another major thing is the student insurance charge. A very important date to remember is September 1st, because if you have your own health insurance, you do not want the school's health insurance, you will want to waive that by September 1st. Otherwise, your account will be billed for that charge.
Okay. So you mentioned being financially clear. We have a lot of incoming freshmen that have joined us over the past 2 weeks for these seminars, and parents. So they hear that a lot. You need to be medically cleared, financially cleared. Explain to us, what does it mean to be financially clear? Because oftentimes we get asked that question, so I have to pay this $20,000 up front. So if you could just explain what is being financially clear.
So the simplest way, 'cause I know you all receive a lot of information, but the main thing we are looking for in the fall is to see if you have a full financial aid package that is accepted and approved. If there's a plus loan on there, it must be approved. You can't count it. So if you have a full financial aid package that covers that, it's $21,324 for the fall. So it's gonna be double that for the year. If you have a package that covers that, then you are financially clear. We're not looking for a payment. You have to sign up for the payment plan. If you have partial financial aid, we are looking for that first payment on the special deferred payment plan, which most of you should have received by now. And that first payment is $3,768. And basically with that is if you have an out-of-pocket, we have that first payment, we financially clear the student to start, and then they have to the end of the term to be at a zero balance.
How are the bills communicated? Is it communicated via mail or email?
We mail, initially that first bill is mailed. Just
Okay.
because, so make sure the parents see it, students see it, but there is always, the bills are always uploaded monthly.
Okay.
So they may not get another one until the end of the semester, we try to send it up, but there is a monthly statement every month uploaded to the system called TouchNet.
Okay.
And you can just put that in the search box on the main webpage and it'll pull that up. But that gives their full account detail, every semester real time, and it also lists their invoices.
All right. So Hamptonians, make sure that you have your access to TouchNet, because that is the billing system, or
Yes.
where you
your-
see the
your account
invoices.
detail.
If your mom or daddy asks you what the bill look like, you go to your TouchNet and you'll be able to see it in real time.
Real time.
All right. So I know Mr. Miles mentioned refund checks. So can you talk about what is the process from your department on how they get the refund check?
Yes. Oh, also, let me mention another thing about the
Help us
financial
out, go ahead.
clearance. Just because this can create a lot of anxiety sometimes, but we do put holds on every registration period.
Okay.
So you will see a hold at the beginning of every term. It should, if you're financially clear, you should see that hold removed in like 3 to 5 business days. So just because you see a hold, don't be alarmed. That just means we're going through the clearance process. Now, if it's not removed in say 5 days, that's when we're going to call. Or send an email, or I know it says to have a hold on my account, but that's gonna happen every semester.
Okay.
So I did want to put that out there. And the quickest way to receive your refund is signing up for e-refund through TouchNet. So they can, like I said, put that in the search engine. And right off to the side is a link that says electronic refund. It takes about a week for everything to cycle through with the bank. But if you set that up early, you can receive all of your refunds that way. That is the quickest way. We can process those a lot faster than a check.
So even if they don't know whether or not they qualify for a refund now, are they eligible once they get access to TouchNet to go in and sign up for that program?
Mhm.
Okay.
They can, even, because basically it stays set up for their tenure. So
Okay.
even if you may not receive a refund this year, it'll still be there for next year.
Sure. All right. And what's the best way to contact your office?
It's businessoffice@hamptonu.edu. So just business office all together at hamptonu.edu. If you do want to call, it's 757-727-5661. And also too, there's one-stop registration.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I believe that link will be sent out, but that assists students with the registration process. So lets them know if you do need a payment, what type of aid is funneling through. So you see what your outstanding balance is, and just kind of assist them with what is needed to be financially.
Okay. That's great. All right. So thank you all for this information. But as I was explaining to you all, we always allow for a few questions from the audience to ask. So students, parents, Hamptonians, now here's your chance to be able to ask questions. I am going to ask that you do not ask a personal situation, only because both of our attendees here do not have computer systems, and we are wanting to make sure that we are giving accurate information. If it is something that they cannot answer, they will ask that you contact them via their preferred method so that they can get back to you within a timely manner, and so that that experience is catered to you and we're not doing that. So we're going to take a few minutes of questions. We do have another professional development for staff going on right after this, so we will not be able to be on for a long period, but I do see about 9 hands right now. So y'all ready? All right. So, okay. So the first question is going to come from Jay Scott.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Welcome.
Okay, welcome. I'm sorry. Let me go quickly. First question, when, in regards to work study, when would a student be notified of where he or she would be, I guess, placed in regards to work study, if they are offered that?
Thank you, Jay, for that question. Yeah, normally in September, after the period of ad drop, for those students who do qualify for the work study, we will notify them first and foremost, and two, long before then. But let's go back to step one. When you receive your award letter, and should you qualify for work study, then you know that you are a candidate for it. But we won't actually call you in to appoint you to or assign you to an office, not until after the week of ad drop. And typically what we try to do, we try to assign students into offices where they share an interest in being. And so it's not until about the second week after ad drop. And so we do have a schedule that is very convenient because we know everybody can't come at one time and so on. So we stagger it throughout the week.
Okay. In regards to the contact us form, what's the turnaround time for responding to those questions that's submitted through that venue?
Yeah, thank you, Jay. Again, as I said, there are more of you than there are us, but we try our best to respond back to inquiries that we receive, within a couple of days at a max. Sometimes we can do a little bit better. Sometimes it takes that period of time, depending on the volume of questions. Now that we will be in person instruction in the fall, we welcome you to come by the financial aid office because to me, emailing is great, fine, and as I said earlier, it's the most efficient way. But we'd rather see you in our office so we can have that conversation with you, per se. So typically up to 2 days, we know that once we get beyond September, the volume in terms of inquiries really slows down. But prior to then, it kind of picks up a lot because students, and whether you're new or whether you're continuing, you're very anxious about your award and clearance and starting classes and things of that nature. So we hope to see you in the fall in our office, but up to about 2 days, at this point.
Okay, in regards to student accounts, I guess they mentioned something about TextNet. Is there any way they can put that in the chat so we can see? I believe you said this is where we can see updated statements for the fall semester or up spring.
Yeah.
It's what?
It's TouchNet. Our support staff is typing in the comments.
Okay, thank you. And in regards to, Ms. Tucker mentioned about the insurance getting waived. I know they had said early on in one of the sessions that we were going to do waiver forms, but I believe when the health center came on, they said that they were pulling it back from that and doing it online. Does Ms. Tucker know if she's involved with that, or is she just the one that, processes it?
Well,
so let me just clarify. What they were saying was at the time that students were trying to do the waiver form for the fall, it was not uploaded on the system because we were still in the midst of pre-college registration. But we have began pre-college as of last week. So
okay.
Go on the website now, you should be able to do it for the fall because we've already started pre-college.
Okay, I'll try back because because as of Monday, it's still, my daughter logged on into Gallagher, it still was not showing the waiver form.
Okay. If that is the case, I will in the morning, send a message to Mrs. King as well as Dr. Edmonds so that they can check into that. But
Okay.
that was what was given out that week, was that we were currently in the midst of pre-registration for summer school and pre-college.
Okay.
So I will just get an update on that, but please check the website.
Okay.
Information will be found there.
And last question, in regards to loans, when my daughter initially got her financial aid package, she went online and she accepted everything. If we see before, I guess, August 1st, deadline date of paying for the fall semester that she doesn't need the loans, do we need to, is it best to send a letter in rejecting those loans, or it's best to do it via email? Because I know with mail these days it's kind of slow, and I've heard that some people, that Hampton is not receiving some mail that's been sent to them, and I've had better response via email than with mail.
Well, yes, that's a very good question. You're going to do two things. The preferred way to do it is for her to go online and to decline the loans or to cancel the loan. She can do that herself through the portal. If for whatever reason that's not satisfactory, you can also email us as well. So you can email that to the financial aid office, and we can, but we have to have a record that that the loan was canceled or you did not want it. So yeah, you can do it one or two ways, whichever is most preferable.
Okay, all right, thank you so much for all your help.
You're
All right, thank you. All right, Ms. Whitaker Miller.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I have a question regarding the statements, the account statements that have been sent out. So I've received a letter, like everyone else, I'm sure, that has the paperwork for a promissory note. 2 statements of account. Both of them show the $21,324. What I'm trying to figure out is when and if we will receive an actual bill that says, this is how you pay, this is what you pay, that's updated with the financial aid applied. I called and someone said you can pay through a link. That's not what I'm looking for. I need an address or something that says this is the actual amount once financial aid has been deducted. And I think several people, because we had discussions, have received the same things that I have, and it's a little unclear. So do we know when something that's more detailed will be sent, or if something else will be sent?
Yes, the actual billing statements go out in July. Probably about mid-July. That will include the financial aid. It is specific to the student. The statement of account is just send that out early so you get an idea of what charges you are trying to do. That is just a general statement. But the actual billing statement will be.
We can't hear the answer to this question. There's background noise. Somebody else needs to mute.
Reverend, 1 second, Ms. Whitaker, we're gonna try to mute the other person.
Spears has been at the helm of a court-ordered conservatorship.
Okay. All right, so the statement of account is basically like, it just gives parents an idea of what charges, the basic charges that they will be charged for the fall. It is not their actual billing statement. That won't come out until mid-July, which will have the financial aid deducted specific to the student, ID number, the remittance part, all of that will be included. And that's each month. An actual billing statement.
Okay, so this is just like preliminary then. Okay. Okay, so I'll know to look for that in July because I saw that this due August 1st. Okay. Okay. The other question I had, which is related to the letter that came, and I see these payment methods, paying 100% and the balance less approved financial aid, whatever. I assume that that breakdown will be on the subsequent bill that comes in July. So it'll show the difference. So for instance, my child has scholarships. So that amount, will that show as deduction and will just show the amount that is due for the semester?
Yes, so on your billing statement, So basically, that payment plan is basically set up if you're paying strictly out of pocket. So, but what happens is if you do have some aid, it can't be used for that first payment. So if there's scholarship funds coming in, so you can use it like for the September payment and the August payment. It basically just allows you to skip payments on the payment plan. So that's like the simplest way to, like, so if you have an out of pocket of $5,000, we're still looking for that first payment on the payment plan, and you just have to be at a zero balance by November 1st.
Okay, but this is outside of the payment plan. So if I'm just paying the full amount outside of a payment plan, I'm just asking, will it show?
Yes.
Exactly. Okay.
It's not gonna show like a payment plan amount. It's gonna say your exact amount due.
Yes, that's what I want to know. Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Miss Sarah Martin.
Thank you very much. One of the parents asked one of my questions, so that was great. I have a quick question. When you're applying for the Parent Plus loan, do you apply for the whole year when you go onto the federal website, or do you apply for the first semester now, and then do you apply for the second semester in the fall?
No, ma'am. I mean, you could do that, but the most efficient way to do it would be for the entire year.
Do it for the entire year. Okay, that's helpful.
You always reserve the right to cancel it.
Mhm.
For example, if you don't need the funds spring semester for whatever reason,
Mhm.
into pool of money or something like that. But yes, always apply for the whole year.
Okay. And the only other question I had, I think I heard you say this. If your child does have, let's say, a Merit Scholarship from Hampton, it's automatically split in half between semesters, correct? So
Yes.
somebody will apply half now and half next semester.
Yes, ma'am. That's one of
Okay.
the golden rules of financial aid.
Okay.
Spring.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're all right.
Thank you. Lakeisha Holland.
Yeah, hi. I just have a couple of questions. First of all, you guys talked about work study. Is that something you can apply for anytime if you have, or do you have to do that with your financial aid application?
Well, you can indicate on the FAFSA form that you're interested in federal work study. And if we have the funding available at the time that we review and award you financial aid, and if work study is part of that package, then you can, or your daughter can, or your son can, accept that. The earlier you do that, the better, because federal work study is almost like, pancakes on Saturday at IHOPs. Everybody loves to go and consume it. And so I would recommend that you apply for that, that you accept that aid early rather than later, providing that we have awarded you the federal work study as I discussed early on.
Okay. Also, my son, he'll be receiving the dependent education assistance from the Veterans Affairs. How would he submit to you all so that he can get the payments for that?
Yes, ma'am. The office that actually deals with that, we don't have a representative from the office of the registrar, but the office of the registrar here at Hampton is the one that have to do the certification with the VA that his parent, father or mother, who has the benefit, they have to certify that first with the VA.
Uh-huh.
And then the VA will let us know what the eligibility amount that the student qualifies for. So that would be done through the VA office. And if you would like, I don't know if you have attempted to research that or not here at Hampton, you can go ahead and send that directly to me, and I can make sure that your request gets in the hands of the right individuals in the office of the registrar. And you can email me directly at Martin, MARTIN, period, Miles, and I spell it MILES, at HamptonU, as in university.edu. And just stipulate that we spoke here at the podcast, and I'll handle it.
Okay, Perfect, thank you. And the last question I had was regarding the health waiver, the health insurance waiver. You stated something about Gallagher. Is that not Med Proctor? Is that Med Proctor or is that something different?
It is something different. That's Gallagher. The waiver is actually through Gallagher.
Okay. We submitted the health insurance cards to Med Proctor, so that's not where we should have sent that.
No, you still would send it there because they do require it. This is part of the medical clearance process. But to waive out of the actual school's insurance, you would go through Gallagher.
Okay. And is that on the health website or is that somewhere else?
It may be, and then we also sent a letter in July, but I do have it's on. I can
Christina
give
can
it.
put it in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll get that into the comments for you in just a second. All right, for the sake of time, I see a lot of hands. If we could just limit no more than 2 questions, please, so that I'm trying to get through as many questions as possible for this opportunity. So no more than 2 questions. Mr. Christian LaFontaine.
Yes, this is Christian's dad, as usual.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question concerning the GI Bill. So I have already submitted all my information to Miss Sierra Banks at the registrar's office, and information has been sent to the VA. We cannot control when the VA does their payment. So how does that work for the August 1st deadline?
So basically what happens, the registrar's office sends us a list of VA students and we just clear them based off that list. So if Ms. Banks has your information, you should be good to go.
So is there any kind of payment still due on August 1st?
If they're receiving VA funds, we do automatically clear those.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anaya Watson.
Hello, this is Anaya Watson's mother. I just had the question, we haven't received any type of statement for her billing at all. And I don't know how we would get that. Like, I just went on the website for the TouchNet, and it's not on there either, so.
TouchNet was actually once we actually bill, but we won't receive a bill until July.
Okay,
The statement of accounts was the notice that was just sent out that basically outlines the bill, what we would be charged, because we don't actually invoice until July.
okay, she hasn't received that.
I can't take her stick. Well, would you mind emailing the business office?
No, ma'am, I don't mind.
Number, and then we can have another one emailed to you.
Okay, thank you. And also I have, I'm sorry, just one last question for financial aid. She didn't receive any assistance, but she did receive loans. I just want to know, how do we go on there and decline those? Because it's not I don't have that option to decline either on her financial aid.
Well, first and foremost, even if you may earn $1 billion last year, we still award students financial aid. They simply be non-need based. So loans, as well as grants and work study and things of that nature. Those are all forms of financial assistance. But moreover, back to your question, if you or if your daughter wishes to cancel those loans, she can do so through the student portal and just simply decline or cancel that. If for whatever reason, if she's having an issue with that, feel free to email me. You can do that through the contact us. You can do that to me directly. I'll give you my email address if you need that. If she's having difficulty doing that through the student portal, I'm unaware of anyone having difficulty with accepting or declining or canceling it. But there's always one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'll give you I'll email you. Thank you.
And I'm on the website. If you go to contact us link, I'm the financial aid director. So my name is out there. I get it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome, Ms. Watson.
All right, Ms. Smith Dixon.
Hello. Thank you for your time tonight. So the question that I primarily had has kind of been answered, but I just wanted to clarify. Similar scenario where we're paying out of pocket, may have partial aid without having clear understanding of what her final balance is due. Need to know what are the cutoffs to deny partial aid or to just receive partial aid. And what I gather from earlier answer is that we are not to sign the promissory note because it's not specific to our student. That's more so when you're paying the whole semester out of pocket. Is that correct?
No. If you're applying for a loan, receiving a loan for the very first time, those master promissory notes are good for a period of 10 years. So irrespective of the amount, whether it's partial, whether it's in full, whether it's for a semester, for the whole year, if you plan to utilize that in whole, in part, or in whole or in part, you still have to do the master promissory note. We would prefer that you, you have until August 1st, as Ms. Tucker alluded, to decline or to accept a partial award in that regard.
And I'm sorry to clarify, I'm referring to the Hampton promissory note.
For the Hampton promissory note?
Yes.
Right, so you wouldn't need to, so basically, if you are just looking to pay the out-of-pocket expense by August 1st, then you wouldn't need the special. That's just
I'm
one
sorry, I couldn't hear you.
options. I'm sorry. So if you wouldn't necessarily need the special deferred payment plan if you're just going to pay the out-of-pocket expense up front. That's just an option that Hampton allows as a payment option. But if you're paying the amount due by August 1st, then you would not need to send us back that special deferred payment.
Okay. All right. And so from what I gathered from earlier, we will get a personalized statement mid-July. But right now, the payment of $37.68 is still due by July 1st, or is it due by August 1st?
August 1st.
August 1st. Okay. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Tony Cox.
Hi, thank you for this seminar. I have a question. I haven't received anything about any types of loans. Like, am I supposed to go somewhere to see that? I don't.
Are you the parent?
Yes,
Okay, has your son or daughter received their email from us as well as the paper award letter?
I received the award letter for the she got housing, but that was it.
Okay, and you didn't see any other form of aid?
Nothing. Haven't received anything else.
Okay, and because this is more so on a personal level, please email me, Ms. Cox, and I can take a look at it to see, what's going on in that regard. We have actually sent out notices.
What?
Close to about 7,000.
What's up?
Yeah, so email me, you can even go to contact us link and email me at martin.miles@hamptonu.edu, and I'd be most happy to look into it and respond to you. But I would,
Okay.
and please provide me with your son or daughter's student ID.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you. Just one more. Where is the TouchNet? How do you access that?
The easiest way to get to it is if you just type in TouchNet into the search box on our main web, on the Hampton University main webpage.
Oh, darn it. Shut up.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I just had one more question. So if I set up for the payment plan, my first payment is due July 1st?
If you are paying if you're looking to pay the full balance, like without any aid, just paying the full $21,324 out of pocket, then your payments would have to start July 1 if you want to be breaking them up into 5 payments.
Okay, but if I get the loan, do I still have to pay by July 1st?
Only, so if you take the financial aid package and the financial aid package covers the full balance, then you would not have to make a payment. But if
Oh.
you say you only accept partial aid and it's not enough to cover the full balance and her out-of-pocket is more than that $3,768, we will need that first payment.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Ms. Dancy?
Yes, good evening, and thanks so much. Just two questions, and this is for any students who receive scholarships from outside agencies. As those scholarships are received and processed by the university, will they appear when we log in to see the student's account sort of status in a sense? Like, will they appear online in that portal?
Yes, ma'am. Once we receive notice of that, we would include that in the financial aid award package. It would be reflected as outside scholarship. That's how it would be reported. Unlike Pell, SCOG, University Aid, we know what the names of those are. And as you could probably surmise, probably got thousands and thousands of different names out there in terms of external scholarships. So how we group all that together, we just simply recognize them as outside scholarship. So once we receive it, you should receive an updated award letter to reflect that balance. And then when your son or daughter goes to review their student accounts in the student portal, they should be able to see the actual name of that particular scholarship that they've got, whether it's from a church or a foundation or something like that.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And just one other follow-up question to that. In the event that any outside agency scholarships arrive after the key deadline dates that the university has established that you've outlined for us earlier, for those scholarships that they're intended for this academic year, would they just roll over and be applied to the next semester expenses in a sense, or bill, if they're not received in time for the fall semester deadlines?
Yeah, unless it states specifically for the fall, if it creates a credit balance, then the best thing to do there is to let it sit there so that it would cover the spring semester charges.
Understood. Thank you so much again. We appreciate your help.
You're more than welcome, Ms. Nancy.
Ms. Reed?
Good evening. Many of my questions have been answered from other parents, but I did have one question. I know that we had to pay the $600 prepayment. Is that $600 deducted for the fall semester in a full amount, or is it divided over the two semesters, the fall and spring?
That's actually just for the fall.
Okay. Thank you.
Ernest Williams?
Hey, good afternoon. I have a question about I think this is already answered on the FSA coverage. We did not see anything in there, so I should just probably email you, Mr. Miles, and with my son's student ID to see if there was anything awarded through FSA.
Are you saying that you did not receive?
We have not. Yeah, we haven't seen anything about any FSA awards.
Okay, so let me just back up and make sure I'm understanding. Did your son receive a financial aid award letter from Hampton?
No, we have not received anything.
Okay, so yes, sir. Please let me know. Please, yes, now I understand. Please email me and I can double check that.
Okay, so should I email that to you or Mr. Miles?
Well, I am Mr. Miles.
Oh, sorry, I got you guys mixed up. Sorry about that. And I have one other question about merit scholarships for transfer students. We were told that there are none. Is this true, or are there some available? Because our son is a transfer student.
Well, typically, we deal with the incoming freshmen first, and if my admissions office personnel, if they have additional funds left over or unclaimed funds, then a decision is made. But normally that's not the case because of the demand that we have for incoming freshmen.
Okay, all right.
High demand of incoming freshmen. So usually those funds go very fast. I mean, very, very, very fast.
Okay, that's all I have.
But what your son or daughter can do now, as I alluded to much earlier in this dialogue, is that we have a slew of scholarship opportunities if you visit the financial aid office website. Plus, we can send you an internal scholarship application as well. So in addition to the resources, we can send you, your son or daughter, an internal scholarship application, and which is a little bit different from the FAFSA, it's a little bit different from the admissions application. It really looks for community service, exceptionalism, those kinds of things that is not normally captured, through an admission application. For example, we know what your ACT scores are. We know what your SAT scores. We know what all those things are. But what we don't know is how exceptional that your son or daughter may have been throughout their tenure in high school. And so we look for that because some of their endowments sometimes do look for students who perform community service and things of that nature. So it's not like it's a one strikeout thing. There are other opportunities, but you do have to research, you do have to apply, and you do have to ask questions such as what you're asking now.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll look into that.
You're welcome.
I'm Ed Jackson.
Yes, thank you so much for taking my call. So on the site, and I understand about the letter that goes out in July, but on the site under the administrative services where it shows the amounts that are offered, it doesn't show, for instance, the merit scholarship that it was accepted, even though we've done that. Is that just something that takes place at a later time, or should that already be reflected there?
It should already be reflected. How long ago did you accept, did your son or daughter accept the merit?
3 months.
3 months ago?
Yeah, well, for one son, 3 months ago, for another son, about 2 months ago. And I know all of that's been received and confirmed, it's just not being reflected.
Okay, and when was the last time you looked at the account with your son, I believe?
I'm looking at it right now on my other screen, the administrative services self-service under HUNet, and it shows the amounts offered, but nothing in accepted, and that's the way it's been.
Okay. Okay. Now, wait a minute. It says offered, so
right.
You're going into the portal to accept the scholarship.
We accepted it online during our response, but I didn't know that there was a place to go online to say accept.
Yes, it should be in the financial aid module. So email me, because it sounds like, okay, the scholarship is out there. It sounds like there was an attempt to accept it, but it's not registered. That's what I'm understanding.
Right, we responded with, one of them was, two of them were letters, one was an email. So we responded to all of those, even the one where we got a response back via the email saying that they received it. None of them are showing that they've been accepted, even though we know that Hampton has received it.
Okay, go ahead and email me that information, Mr. Jackson. I'd be more than happy to look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Can I jump in? This is Emika Russell. The same happened to me. When we got the award letter in February, we immediately signed it, sent it via priority mail, and got a signature for it in February 6th, in fact. And the university said that they did not receive it. So I had to resubmit it again, and it still wasn't showing, like this gentleman said, that it was accepted. I contacted you guys. You all had me go on an additional website and then click on some other acceptance step sheet, walk me through, and it shows it now. But now, however, it shows that I've accepted student loans plus a plus loan and whatever the other loan is. I did not. So we reached out to you all again to say, it is showing that we accepted the merit scholarship now and the VTAG, but now it's showing that we've asked for 2 different loans. They told us what documents to fax to them. We completed it and faxed it to them, and it's still not showing that we did not request any student loans. Do we need to resubmit that email and scanned document back to them, or who do I talk to remove that? Because I definitely don't want to get into some student loan contract.
Yeah, you've said a lot there, but what I would like for you to do as well, as I mentioned to Mr. Jackson, it sounds like it's a difference between you accepting the aid, accepting the scholarship and sending it back in versus going into the portal. But in any event, go ahead and email me tomorrow, and I promise to get back to you, Mr. Jackson, and everyone else with regards to your inquiries. So email me that I have to look at specifically. As Mr. Harris said earlier, I don't have a computer in front of me, and some of these questions, such as the one that's being presented, and the previous question, is more unique to the individual, more so than in a general format. But anyway, I want to be as helpful as I can. So just email me tomorrow, and I promise before close of business tomorrow, you will hear back from me. Hello, and what was her name?
She did it already. Okay. All right. So this person is listed on the Galaxy A715G. So you're calling from a cell phone?
Yes. Hi. My name is Sabrina. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. The question that I have, is it anywhere that I could go and re-listen to this whole conversation, because I could barely hear you guys and it was coming in and out. So will this be posted anywhere where myself and my daughter, because my grandson is going to be coming there, where we could go and listen to all of this all over again, because I got some information and some information I missed.
Yes, ma'am. So all of our recordings are posted from our original information seminar 2 weeks ago. Tonight's recording will be posted by 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you go to YouTube and in the search engine type in HU Student Activities, you will be able to see all of our information seminars. But this one this evening will be posted tonight by 11 p.m.
Okay, HU Student Activity on YouTube.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I thank you so much. I want to thank you guys for the information that I did hear and for helping everyone else. And have a good night.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
So right now, for the sake of time, unfortunately, we can only get about 3 more questions in because we are running late for another event at this time. But we have already provided with you with the contact information. So if you have any further questions for financial aid, please go to our Hampton University website, search engine, type in financial aid. On the financial aid homepage, on the left-hand side, you will see the option for the hyperlink that says contact us. Please submit your questions there. If you have a question for the business office, go to business office at hamptonu.edu and send Ms. Tucker your questions there. So let me just get 3 more questions before we have to depart. This says the Bells.
Yes, this is William Bell. Question for you. If we've been denied the Parent Plus loan, is the student able to have her loans increased, her student loans increased?
Yes, sir. Very good question. Very good question. Actually, if you go to answer your questions, yes. She's a freshman, and so we can only increase that with the student's consent. It's called the additional unsubsidized Stafford loan. If you go to my website, under the tab loans, then you will see we have all sorts of tabs there, links there with regards to different kind of loan situations. And so to request the additional unsubsidized Stafford is one of them. So just click on that, complete that, and submit that to us. So yes, so we look forward to processing that.
And a follow-up, do you know the amounts?
Yes, as I mentioned a moment ago, for a freshman student, the maximum that they can get from the federal government, if the Parent Plus loan is denied due to whatever reason, it is $4,000. The only thing I would add to that is that sometimes, you still you still have the option to appeal that credit decision. let's just say it was something minor and you can't defend and you can't explain, the Department of Ed would be more than happy to entertain that. So that's point number one. Point number two is that, if there's someone like an uncle or auntie or somebody like that, and don't have to be a family member, it could be extended, it could be a friend or something like that, who wish to, let's just say, to endorse that loan. That is also an option. It may be not within reach, but that is an option. So you have two additional options there: to appeal the credit decision if you think that the credit decision that was made by the Department of Education, but they looked at the credit and everything else, but you may be able to tell a different story as to why you were denied. It could be appealed, and it could be overruled, or you can get an endorsement. But if those two other options I just mentioned do not work, then yes, then request the additional unsubsidized staff, which you can do on their website, as I mentioned moments ago. Under the loan
Thank
tab,
you.
go to the loan tab, Mr. Bell.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sir.
Pavan and Leslie Roseman.
Hi, I just have one question. The payment of the 3,007 something that's on the payment plan. I know that's due on August 1st. Can we call over the phone to student accounts, or do that have to actually be mailed in? It could have been answered and I didn't hear it.
You actually would, if you want to call in a payment, you actually want to contact the cashier's office.
Okay.
And so that number is 757-727-5663.
Okay.
They are open Monday through Friday, but from 8:30 to 4.
Okay.
You can also make payments online. Go to the main webpage, click on current student.
Mhm.
And it's the second to last one under quick link. You don't have to sign in or anything, you just have to have your student ID number.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Dante Duse or Dose. I'm sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong.
Hi, this is Dante Douse's mother. One of my questions was already answered. Thanks for that. We were trying to figure out the amount that's due that was listed on the paperwork that we received in the mail. Are we required to pay by semester, or are we required to pay by the year?
It's by semester. We do a
Okay.
financial clearance process for fall and for spring. So the most important dates are August 1 for fall, December 1 for spring.
Okay, so the amount that we received on the paperwork, I had the same issue. He could not accept his awards online. It's still not showing. So we'll just email Mr. Miles tomorrow or this afternoon to get that situated. So we would just have to cover just the difference of whatever the scholarship does not cover.
Yes, ma'am. Or if the difference is higher, we would like to see at least the $3,768.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I look forward to receiving your email.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So I just see the last 3 questions. I'm going to go ahead and clear it out because I don't want to turn anybody away. April, Barbara, if you have one question, we can answer it.
Yes, I have one question. Good afternoon or good evening. Thank you. The VA 529, we have a 529 and that we're going to be using for part of Jordan's tuition. How do we do that? What do we do for that? Because VA 529 requires documentation, and then how do we get that to you?
So with the Virginia 529, we usually are sent a roster each semester. I believe you initiate something with the Virginia 529, and then they send us a roster and we invoice them, each student on that roster. And
Okay, so once you get that, does that financially clear Jordan since she'll be on that roster?
yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Bianca? Or Bionica?
Hi, yeah, it's Bianca.
All right.
I just have two quick questions about what happened tonight. What is TouchNet? And then what's going on July 1st versus August 1st with payments?
Okay, so TouchNet it's similar to the portal, but TouchNet also holds billing statements. But you can also see all their transaction detail on their account in real time on TouchNet. So basically, TouchNet is their student account. So you can see every semester they ever attended, every single charge they ever billed on TouchNet. And of course, the monthly statements are housed there as well. So they need their student ID and PIN number to get into that system.
She said that.
Thank you. And then I keep hearing a July 1st payment and an August 1st payment. So I'm just trying to decipher what's the difference between the two.
Okay, so August 1st is basically the financial clearance deadline, I would say. So whether it's having your financial aid package in line or have pay your out-of-pocket expense, that's the August 1 date. July 1 only affects the parent who is basically using that special deferred payment plan. And they're paying their full out-of-pocket starting July 1.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And lastly, Kennedy.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, hello. How are
Kennedy's
you?
mom.
Welcome.
I'm sorry, I came in a little late and I heard a few of the questions. Is there a parent portal that I do have access to? And she's received multiple scholarships. Can I have those scholarships deferred to the loan portion of the bill?
Well, what you can do there is that my office would be the office that would process that. If you are saying that you would rather use the scholarships and in turn to decline or to cancel the student loans or to partially, cancel them, then certainly you can do that. What I would request that you do is to send us an email, just so that we have those specific instructions. But do remember what Mrs. Tucker was saying. You have to make sure, though, that if you do that, so long as those scholarships and the other forms of aid, including the special deferred payment plan, if that is an option, that the sum of those monies do equal the billable charges, so that come August 1st, your son or daughter will receive financial clearance.
Okay. What's the email I should be emailing? I apologize, I came in late.
Specific instructions so that we know that you rather reduce your loan by, let's just say, for example, the freshman student, dependent freshman student can receive, federally speaking, $5,500. And let's just say, for example, and 3,500 of that is subsidized. In most cases, it's not in all cases, because sometimes it's all unsubsidized, but the total amount is $5,500. So let's say you have $3,000 in scholarships. So if I'm thinking correctly, if you wish for us to reduce that staff loan or direct loan by that amount, then yes, we can do that. But we just need to hear from you specifically that that's what you wish to do. It may be more than that, but if it's less than that, yes, we can still do that. We just like to have those instructions. Yeah, sure.
And what's the email?
Oh, my email address, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay, I get on these tangents here.
I appreciate the information. Listen, you won't hear nothing bad from me.
Is Martin.Miles, M-A-R-T-I-N .Miles, M-I-L-E-S, at hamptonu.edu. And any of the parents or students to whom I've spoken to tonight, yes, you can use contact, for me. You can get to me that way. But if you want to just email me directly, which sometimes is better, because because I see it firsthand as opposed to coming through a third party in my office. I'd be more than happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for making me laugh.
Right. Thank you all, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Miles and Mrs. Tucker for joining us on today. As I stated a few minutes ago, all of these videos, including this one, are found on our Student Affairs YouTube channel. All you have to do is go on YouTube and type in HU Student Affairs, and all of our videos will pop up on our channel. On tomorrow, probably before afternoon, I'm going to email out the official link so that you'll be able to click the link and go directly to the actual YouTube channel. I think that might be a little bit more helpful. So I'll send that out to all of the students so that they can receive the videos. But as always, if you have any questions, please remember to go onto our website, type in financial aid in the search engine and use the contact us button, or email directly businessoffice@hamptonu.edu. Once again, I thank you all for joining us on tonight's virtual information seminar, and we look forward to bringing more of these opportunities to the students and parents before August if possible. But if not, we are opening up the doors to your home by the sea in August. So we welcome you to stop by all of our offices and be able to handle the business face-to-face if need be. Once again, thank you all for attending, and you all have a great night.